Chapter 21. I don't know where Kamo has disappeared to. One moment I could see her, and the next she was gone, but not before she looked at me and uttered, "Ew, you have a boyfriend. Boys are gross," and then laughed and ran off. Something about her is light and fun since I came back here. She's behaving like a typical 4-year-old with the tongue sticking and tormenting Mzolisi and that comment she made about boys. I didn't have a crush on a boy until I was 13. How on earth does she have an opinion about boys at 4 years old? She must have been such a happy, free-spirited child before that man took her. "Is she gone?" he says. I act confused because, "Charlie, I know you're attached to her, but you can't keep her. She has to go home, wherever she came from." He's right. It's just that I feel like she's the only thing that is true about me. If only going home was literal, not the fact that they have to fetch her spirit. When it finally happens, at least she will be reunited with Sissy, and hopefully they will find Duelo and torture him. But if there was really heaven and hell, he is definitely burning in hell. We are sleeping here, in this blue house tonight, because Mzolisi said he would rather chew razor blades than sleep at that B&B again. This is a house of horrors, and despite knowing that, he's still fearless, and I admire that. He's been making calls, coming in and out of the house, talking to different people. The conversations seem serious, and I'm waiting for him to finish and brief me. Strange as it may seem, I want to find out everything about everyone in this web. I want to know about those women who lived in the other 3 houses, about their kids and where they are now. They left because of Kamo, apparently, because surely they knew the stories about the bodies buried under the houses are not true. They blackmailed that man into giving them his land. They would not have done that knowing it was some mass grave. One of those women is Gertrude's mother. So when all this is over, and Kamo is resting in peace, they or their descendants can come back, and this town can stop being creepy. They could use this land, farm it and make money, invite other people to come and build their own houses. It could turn into a great community, just ordinary people living together and caring for each other. A happy ending. "I have to go somewhere," he says. "Go somewhere?" It's already dark outside and there are no streetlights here. I've been talking to my friend. He's a cop in Joburg. He knows someone at the Vereniging police station and asked for a favor. They're going to run Jumanji's fingerprints for me. Now, in the evening. I want to go with him, but he says no. "Stay here with your ghost friend. I don't want her getting in my car and trying to freeze me to death again." He grabs the car keys and leaves. That he can joke about the Kamo situation is another level of madness. When we left Joburg this morning, the last thing I expected was Jumanji being our first focus point. We started here because we hoped we could get more information about the neighbors. We were actually going to break into those abandoned houses. Another person I want to see is Patrick, but I've been struggling to find him on his phone. I feel like there was more he could have told me about this town. He either held back because I'm a woman and he didn't want to scare me, or because he doesn't care or believe anything these people here believe. But then again, Kutulo was as useful. Now that I'm alone in this house, I'm tempted to go down the dog room and see if I won't find anything in that clutter I saw when Mzolisi dragged me out on that day. But no, what if I get lost in there again? I never want to go through anything like that again. Theoretically, I have found Gertrude. I know her name and her mother's name. It won't be that hard to find Kamu's mother because Sasselberg is not that far from here, and there'll definitely still be people who worked with Duelo at that clinic. Me, on the other hand, there isn't much hope for finding my true identity. There's literally nothing to go on except that photograph of me and the woman who looked like she was close to death. I've been expecting Kamu to show up. She doesn't. I've decided to do some cleaning. Not that there is much to clean, because Kutulo's women were almost done before they ran for their lives. I kill that thought because it's not like I'm any good at anything domestic anyway. So I switch on my laptop, knowing very well the signal here is bad. I have some old emails. Judging by the subjects, they're from the companies I applied to when I still believed that it would take no longer than 2 weeks to sort out whatever I came here for. I wonder, when all this is over, if I'll still want my life to be what it was before Seipati died. I wonder if I'll still want to buy a house in Johannesburg and live alone for the rest of my life. Already, all of it feels like a me from a long time ago. Like the past 6 weeks have been years and so much has changed. What if I find my mother and her family and they're happy that I'm back and they love me and I love them and I never want to be away from them? What if my parents were married and they've never stopped looking for me all these years and I have siblings and they are good people and they know they have a sister who went missing and our reunion is the most joyous celebration, so much that I never want to leave their side again? Maybe my father is one of those super great dads, and before they lost me, I was daddy's little girl, and my return will be the best thing that's ever happened to him. And so he will love me and do everything in his power to make up for the lost years. Imagine me arriving home and finding siblings who want to protect me instead of harming me. Just thinking about it is making me smile. But then it hits me that nothing about who Gertrude was to me was her fault. My smile suddenly dissolves to sadness. She loved and protected me in that room, so much that she wanted to kill me, then have me go through the same pain she went through. Even after Sepati kidnapped us, Gertrude still tried to protect me, in her own way. She knew physical pain was far better than the pain I would have gone through if I remembered everything. New pain. That's what she called what she was doing to me. I don't remember when I fell asleep. I was determined to stay up until Mzolisi came back because more than anything, I was worried about him the whole time he was gone. He's back now. I'm not sure when he came back exactly, but he's in the lounge with his face buried into something in his hands. There are 2 more papers on the coffee table. It's crazy because there are only 2 places with light bulbs in this house, so basically we're making do with at least 30% of light. You're up. You didn't have to leave the bed. I would have updated you in the morning. It's 3 a.m., so it's already morning. I sit next to him, and he knows I'm not going to wait for the sun to come out to get the update. His name is Moses Kaula, he says, and passes me a paper that's a copy of his ID document. I know he doesn't look like this young man whose ID photo I'm looking at now, but I know it's him, Jumanji. He owned a small construction company, and he was good at his job. They ran his fingerprints, and they found all this, he says, passing me another paper. It's something like a resume, listing all his previous work. He applied for a tender to extend a clinic here in 1996, but he didn't win the bid. That's the year I was born, according to my ID and birth certificate. But then again, that's according to the identity Sepati gave me. He didn't get the tender because he wasn't from around here. That was the rule then. It says here that he was from Gomhlanga. I've read this, and I see he had done great jobs back in his hometown. I know that Gomhlanga is not far from Pretoria, but it falls under the Mpumalanga province. I once had to stay there for 3 weeks because 4 kids had died after drinking water from a flowing river there. We had to test it and find what the contamination was. Begim Dlalose was also from there, born and bred, he says. I still have the ID copy in my hands, and I'm still staring at the mugshot. I don't understand if it is my mind that has frozen, or if it is my mouth that just won't let me say it out loud. We must go there and tell his family that he's here in De Deer. He must have forgotten who he was after he was injured. It's not part of our quest, but we must do right by him, Charlie. I'm shocked he hasn't made the connection. Mzolisi, it was him. He is the man that saw me. Our eyes met. I remember now. I remember his face. The man called him Moses. I remember now. He built the room downstairs. Remember everything I told you? Yes, but you said he killed him. I thought he did. They found him injured in a bush. He thought he killed him, but he survived. He survived, but he went crazy. Those head injuries messed with his brain. This whole time, Jumanji has been here, and he's been trying to tell everyone about us, but they couldn't figure it out. It's him. I know it's him, Zolisi. He looks into my eyes, and I know he believes me. We have all the time. We can start with him. He deserves to go home too. He deserves far more than that. That man tried to kill him because he knew he would have saved us. Yes, he built that room, but he did not know what it was for. Mzolisi, can we not involve the police yet? I want to find out the truth first. He agrees. Chapter 22. Kamu didn't show herself this morning, but before I locked the door and left, I shouted that I had to go somewhere, that I'd be back soon. I'll tell her everything when I come back, that the man who saw her has been living outside the farm store for more than 20 years, that he's actually the man who saw me all those years ago, that, had things gone differently, he would have gotten us out of that dark room. We left early in the morning. Jumanji smells like every horrible thing you can imagine, but we don't have a choice. All the windows of this car and the sunroof are open because none of us can stand the smell. I don't know what Kutulo said exactly to convince him to get in the car, but they have a relationship. Jumanji trusts Kutulo and Kutulo cares about Jumanji. So here we are, a few minutes away from his home, and he does not even realize it because that evil man beat him to a state of insanity. I remember hearing the assault, but it wasn't gunshots for sure. Otherwise, Sissy and Kamo would have heard them too. It must have been an iron rod or something, and he must have hit him multiple times. It makes me so angry that Duelo died without ever paying for his sins, without even being exposed to the public. Sepati must have killed him. She must have decided it was better to kill her own son to hide the truth about who he really was, and then hide us too to further hide what she gave birth to. To think I loved that woman with all my heart. The car stops outside a gate and I start feeling anxious. Mzolisi got everything, the address and the wife's name. Will the wife even want to take this man back? I wish we had the option to get him cleaned up before taking him home, but he definitely wouldn't have agreed to that because I'm sure he doesn't even know where we are right now. It took us 2 hours to drive to this township from the Deer, but there was never a point where we thought about discussing what we were going to do or say when we got here. The gate is locked, so Kutulo shouts and shouts until someone appears. It's a girl. She must be a few years younger than me. She presses the remote and the gate opens for us. I don't think we should park inside the yard. I think we should leave the car here on the street and walk in. But Mzolisi doesn't take my fears seriously. I tell him it's been over 2 decades. What if this woman has moved on with her life and is living with another man now? It's the same address he lived in all those years ago, so that makes this his house, he says. That's impractical. I mean, they obviously declared Moses dead a long time ago. The girl looks irritated and uninterested in us, but she lets us in anyway. Mama, the wedding people are here, she shouts, and then disappears somewhere. We are definitely not the wedding people. The groomsmen's things are ready, but I'm still ironing the dress. I'll be there in a second. A woman shouts from wherever in this house. We're sitting on the sofas, but Kutulo is following Jumanji around the dining room, trying to stop him from touching things, ornaments and stuff. There are framed photos on top of the sideboard. Not a single one is of Jumanji. The woman finally appears with a dress on a hanger. It is small at the top and big at the bottom. The material is Ndebele print. Who are you? That's the first thing she says when she sees us. I don't want to speak first, but the men I came with are quiet, and Jumanji is not even sitting with us. He's standing, staring at a large picture on the wall. I'm Charlotte. Charlotte? The bride didn't say anything about a Charlotte. Are you here to pick up the dress for her? I stutter. No, we're here with your husband. Mzolisi jumps in. I side-eye him because he shouldn't have done that. He should have prepared her first. My husband? It is only then that she looks at the other 2 men still standing in the dining room. But of course... My husband? I don't have a husband. He left me for another woman years ago. It is exactly at that moment that Jumanji turns around and stares at her. Moses, she says. Jumanji grabs his hair, shakes his head, and rushes out of the house. Kutulo follows him. It's not him, is it? The woman asks. I can tell she's about to lose it. It's him, but he's not okay. He was injured badly a long time ago, Mzolisi tells her. No, he wasn't. He left this house saying he is going to fix Tuelo's fence years ago, and then a week later I received a letter from him saying he wasn't going to come back, that he had decided to stay with that whore from Joburg, the one he just wouldn't let go of. For years I had to endure his affair with that woman. I'm just sitting here, frozen. She's thrown the wedding dress on the floor and she's pacing up and down the living room, angry or confused or... I don't know what it is, but it's not looking pretty. That's him. That's really him. He left me to raise these children on my own. Okay, she's really losing it now. He didn't leave you. He was attacked and he lost his mind, Mzolisi. On our way here, I didn't imagine things turning out this way. Of course, it was going to be unpleasant, but I didn't think it would be such a complicated story. So this is why she didn't look for him. All along, she believed he was living his best life with another woman in Joburg. I don't know what's happening here, but I want you people to leave my house. Tuelo came here and told me Moses never arrived at his house to fix the fence. He was going to his mistress. I should have known. Tuelo was such an evil man. Mzolisi clears his throat before he speaks. Mrs. Kaula, Tumelo lied to you. He was the one who attacked your husband and left him in the bushes believing he was dead. People found him and took him to the hospital. When he was discharged, he didn't remember who he was or where he came from. He's been living outside a shop in Deer since. Mama, is this true? Are they really talking about Baba? It's the daughter. I didn't see her standing there. The mother is quiet, just standing still like a statue staring at us. Mama? Still no response. I might as well tell her. Yes, it's true. Your father is here. He's outside. She rushes outside. I follow her. Jumanji is rushing all over the yard, touching trees and grass and acting like the madman he is. At some point, he goes to the wall and bangs his forehead on it. Kutulo grabs him and pulls him away before he injures himself. Baba, the daughter says. He turns to look at her. Is it really you, Baba? She must have been a baby when she last saw him. He grabs his hair again and pulls. It's painful to watch. Nanziwe, 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 he's shouting. The daughter drops to her knees and wails so loud her mother comes out of the house. She still looks like a walking zombie. I don't know if we should stay or leave, but we can't just leave them like this. Call your brothers, she says to her daughter. It is our work now, mine and Kutulo's, to keep Jumanji calm. I know very well what a memory trigger feels like and how it can result in an impulsive reaction. The daughter is still on her knees. Nanziwe, I said call your brothers, the mother shouts at her. He remembers his daughter. She gets up and goes back inside the house, leaving her mother standing looking down at this man with long, thick hair that locked itself into dreadlocks over the years, and a beard that has not seen a shaving machine in years. He's now sitting on the stoop with his head against the wall, hands over his eyes. I want to say we should take him to the hospital or call the police, but it's not my decision anymore. It's his family's. Are you the police? The wife asks. We look at each other, because we don't know where to start explaining who we are. No, we're not, Mum. I'm from De Deer. I've known him since I was a child. We took care of him. The whole community did, Kutulo says. I don't think that's going to help very much. Moses, it's me, Zanele. He doesn't move or look up at her. His hands are still over his ears. It's his wife. He should remember her. We've been here like this for about 20 minutes when a car drives through the gate. It's a man, could be in his 30s. He runs out of the buggy and runs to the wife. It is only when he's standing in front of her that she starts crying. Nancy, we said something has happened. What's going on? She was crying on the phone. What's going on, Mama? Who are these people? I give him Zolise a look when I see him preparing to speak. Let his mother tell him. They've brought your father home, the mother says, wiping tears. My father? She points at him with her head, and the man looks horrified at the sight of the man sitting down with his hands over his ears, wearing a dirty, long black coat. Where are your brothers? Why aren't they here? She asks. Sipo's driving from the Free State, Mum. He'll be here later. Monde should be here in an hour. What do you mean this is Baba? I know this is a rhetorical question. He knows this is his father. I could tell he recognized him when he looked at him. He just doesn't know him like this. He surely remembers him as a dignified man. Zolisi comes to stand close to me. This is his eldest son. He doesn't live far from here. The second one lives in Rustenburg, so he'll be here soon. The third one is based in Bloemfontein. He's a doctor. He should know how to get him help. And where did he get all this information? The wife told me when you left me with her in the house. He sounds like he's trying to tell me our job here is done, but I don't think I'm ready to go. I want to be sure that Jumanji is okay first. I didn't catch his name, but when I look at him, I see the face of the man I saw before I was kicked on the head and rolled down the stairs. Jumanji must have been his age when they last saw him. We can't go now, I whispered to Mzolis. We have to. We don't have to tell them the whole story about why he was attacked and left for dead. We have a long journey ahead of us, Charlie. Take the daughter's numbers. We'll come back to check on him when all of this is over. I'm not sure if he has a point or not, but I listen because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I take the daughter's phone number like he said and promise her we'd be back. I don't know if she believes me though. Duelo is from around here. Where's his house? She points to the house across the street. There. They left a long time ago though. The house was bought by other people. He and my father were best friends. I used to call him Uncle Duelo. He left to work in Gauteng, and every time he came back to visit, we would have a braai here in our yard, with him and Mkulu Strings, his father. He would play the guitar or the saxophone, and we would dance until the evening. Did he really hurt my father? I don't believe it. I wish I could tell her no. Duelo wasn't a good man. That's all you need to know. What happened to his father, do you know? He left. He went back to Joburg to work, to play instruments for a band. But I don't think he's still doing that because he's definitely too old now. Maybe he went back to the rural areas where he was born. He wasn't going to come back here to live alone. His wife left him a long time ago, when Uncle Duelo was just a baby. He raised him on his own. I turn and see Mzolisi standing at the door. I know by the look on his face that he's ready for us to leave. The car is filled with silence until we turn the next corner. Do you think they'll take good care of him? Kutulo asks. I can hear his voice is breaking. If he could, he would cry. This should be a happy moment for him. Jumanji is finally home. He's with his people now. He will sleep on a bed and eat and bathe every day. But I think his fear is justified because everyone in De Deer understood him and took care of him. What if his family is different? They know the truth about him now, Kutulo, that he didn't abandon them. They'll take care of him. He'll get his life back. I don't know if I'm lying or telling the truth. I'm just voicing out what I hope will happen. Dumelo and Moses, were best friends. That's what the daughter told me. There's silence in the car again. We're driving Kutulo back to De Deer. His work here is done. But Mzolisi and I still have a long way to go. Don't worry too much, Ntwana. You did good by him. You took him back home, Mzolisi says. That is when tears start pouring from Kutulo's eyes. Chapter 23. Pumlile Mkhaliphi. That is Sissy's mother's name. She was the first to abandon her De Deer house after her daughter died in a fire at her boyfriend's house. I want us to start with Sissy. Her mother was from Soweto. It should be easier to find her. I tell Mzolisi after we drop off Kutulo outside the farm store. It's already evening, so we are going back to sleep at the Blue House. We will continue our journey tomorrow morning. But Mzolisi takes the wrong turn, and I tell him we're getting lost. We're not going back to that house, Charlie. We're not sleeping there tonight. But it's already late. Why can't we sleep at the house and leave in the morning? You want to see Kamo. That's the only reason you want to go back to that house. You have to let her go. Your attachment to her is unhealthy. So he's making decisions without asking me now. It's already evening, Mzolisi. Yes, it's only a 40-minute drive from here to Orlando West, but we can't show up at someone's house at night to break bad news and ask questions. Is he crazy? The worst part is that we'll be showing up unannounced. We're not going to Soweto. She didn't go back to Soweto. She went back home where she was born. We're going to Piet Retief. Where the hell is Piet Retief? You can sleep. I'll drive, he says. Where is Piet Retief and how far is it? I thought it was in the KwaZulu-Natal province, but it turns out it falls under Mpumalanga. I've never been there, but it's 5 hours from here, he says. So that means we'll be there around 2 a.m. Where will we sleep? What if the car breaks down and we get stuck in the middle of nowhere, in the dark? I don't bother him with my paranoid thoughts because he has made up his mind. I've been in my soft girl era since I decided to let him take the lead, and I must say, I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm seeing a side of him I've never bothered to pay attention to. I already know he has the address for where we're going, otherwise he wouldn't be driving us in the middle of the night to another province. I'm on my phone checking for available accommodation on booking.com. But Piet Retief is yet another small town with B&Bs that are far from luxurious. There are a lot, but only 4 are available. I click on the one that looks bigger than the other 3. It only has 1 room available, and that means we're going to have to share 1 double bed. No worries. We're not a couple, and sex is the last thing on both our minds right now. We had the best sex when we reunited and became a couple again those years ago. He is the only man whom sex with was pleasurable and felt safe for me. Any woman would have seen that as a sign that she found the love of her life, but not me. I try to avoid thinking about it, but when I look at my life from when I was a kid in Cullinan until now, I never really left that dark room. Gertrude knew what she was doing. Her inflicting pain on me scarred me physically, emotionally, and mentally. She would have rather I had that than the trauma I had before. You can sleep, he says. We've been on the road for an hour, and I don't think this trip will take us 5 hours because he's definitely driving over the speed limit. I can't. You're driving too fast. He laughs. This is a BMW M5 twin turbo. If I drive it under 120 kilometers per hour, that's abuse to my car. I roll my eyes at him, and he laughs. Men are always boys, no matter how old they are. Also, I don't even know what any of that turbo what thing means. We're sleeping at Eagle Nest B&B. I've already booked and paid. He frowns. I'm a woman, Mzolisi. I need to bath and change my underwear and clothes, and brush my teeth, and do my skincare routine. We've been on the road since 6 a.m., part of it with a smelly man in the car for 2 full hours. Skincare what? Routine. I have to wash my face, apply serum, moisturizer, and sunscreen. He looks surprised. That's 4 things. You put 4 things on your face every morning. Sigh. Morning and night. But you wouldn't understand because you wash your face with sunlight bar soap, which, by the way, is meant for washing clothes, and you apply Vaseline on your face, I say, shaking my head. He thinks all this is funny. My mother washed my face with sunlight and applied Vaseline. I'm doing what she did. His mother died when he was 17 years old, 3 weeks after he came back from initiation in the mountains. He told me that story when we first met in varsity. It was the saddest thing I'd ever heard. He was shipped off to his aunt in another village when his father married another woman less than a year after his mother was buried. His 2 siblings were still too young, so they stayed with his father and the stepmother. His aunt was great, but his father never bothered with him after that. His aunt's husband is more like a father to him. He wants nothing to do with his actual father. You don't have to book accommodation. We're going to park at a garage and wait until morning. Do I look like a vagabond? And when he says morning, what exactly is he referring to? 6 a.m. or 10 a.m.? Because no one should show up at someone's house at 6 a.m. Besides, people have jobs. We might have to go there in the afternoon anyway. I guess he didn't think that far. My body is giving up now. I really need to sleep. I slide the chair back and hope Lewis Hamilton here and his twin turbo won't land me in hospital, or dead, or hanging upside down in a car at the bottom of some cliff. Are you done? It's 10 a.m. and he's already annoyed me to the highest level of annoyance. First, he woke me up at 8 a.m., insisting that we must go to breakfast. Basic as it was, with baked beans and fried tomatoes in the mix, I must admit he was right. I needed to eat. When we went back to the room, he showered for like 3 minutes, and by the time I finished my 10-minute long shower, he was already dressed and ready to go. I spent another 30 minutes in the bathroom getting ready, and by the time I came out, he looked at me like I had committed a crime. And then he came and gave my face a closer look as if to inspect the 4 layers of things I apply on it every day and night. Anyway, I'm glad he's doing all this with me. Despite our complicated relationship, we are friends more than anything. We had sex when we arrived, and no, I don't want to talk about it. It was me. I initiated it. It was beautiful. We drive for 30 minutes from town before village houses start to appear. The GPS tells us to turn left onto a gravel road and that we are 4 minutes away. That uneasy feeling starts again. I'm 4 minutes away from meeting Gertrude's real family, and I'm here to tell them that she died 13 years ago, when she was a grown woman, not an 18-month-old whom they believed was burned to death. I don't know what's better, if this message is delivered directly to her mother or if we get there and find she is dead, and the relatives are the ones there to receive the news. Mzolisi asks if I want to stay in the car and let him go inside alone for now. He says he'll fetch me when he thinks the time is right. This is far deeper than taking Jumanji home, far more personal, but no, I'm going in with him. It's a typical rural home with chickens running around and a kraal at the back. There is no fence, so we park in the yard and approach the old man sitting and throwing grain at the many chickens surrounding him. Baba, Mzolisi says, raising his arms. Sanbon, nifuna kwaban. Which house are you looking for? He's speaking Zulu. I googled on our way here, and it said people from here speak either Zulu or Swati. Kwamkalipi, he says. The man narrows his eyes at us before throwing whatever is left of the chicken feed on the ground. Nifike khona, nifuna ban. You're at the right house. Who are you looking for? Mzolisi asks if we could sit because what we have come here with is not a short story. The man doesn't ask us to come inside. He points us to a bench leaning on the wall before he goes inside the house and comes back with a jug of water and 3 glasses. We really are in the rural areas. It is an old African custom that a visitor must be offered something to drink. A part of me is happy that this man is the only one here, so he will handle this like a man. He sits on the bench with us and pours himself a glass of water. What are these news that you are here to tell me? I don't think I should be the one to speak. So I fold my arms and look to the ground. Mzolisi starts by introducing himself and then me. The man asks him where he originates from, and then he tells him he used to work in the mines with men from that village a long time ago. And Umakoti, your wife, where is she from? Mzolisi side-eyes me with some cocky smile on his face. She's from Cullinan. We met in Johannesburg, he says. I see. So what are you here about? He tells him that we are looking for a woman and explains all the basic information we have about Pumi, including that she used to live in De Deer. Yes, my poor little sister. She was never the same after her boyfriend and their daughter were killed in that fire. She came back to live with us after that. She left that house just like that. I had only been there once. I could not believe how lucky she was to just be given a house and land. But after what happened, she wanted nothing to do with that house or that town. Until today, I do not know what is happening with it. He's talking about her in past tense, so I assume she is long dead. I guess the 2 photographs of Gertrude that I brought with me are of no use. I thought if I gave them to her mother, it would be some consolation, just knowing what her daughter grew up to look like. From what I understand, Pumi was the youngest of the 4 women. That's why she had that childish relationship with Auntie. Mzolisi clears his throat before he speaks. The thing, Babumkalipi, is that her daughter did not die in that fire. She was taken by a man, the same man who burned the house down. He took her and locked her in his house until she was 13 years old. Babumkalipi has not said a word. He's looking at Mzolisi with his eyes wide. Who are you and why are you telling me lies? He speaks after a while. There's some anger in his words. We have no reason to tell lies, Mzolisi says. He asked me to hand him the photographs, but I'm not sure. I hand him one of them, the one with the 4 women and Auntie outside the De Beer farmhouse. The old man looks at it. These are the women she worked with on that farm. They all came here when we buried my father. I remember this one. She was older than them, but she was wearing very high heels and a big hat. She stood out. The people here were still talking about her days after the funeral. I would have made a move on her, but she seemed like a big city girl. It was hard to believe she worked on a farm. He's referring to Sepati. Mzolisi whispers to me that I should give him the other photographs. I don't want to. It will be like letting go of someone I knew as my sister all my life. It will be like accepting that she wasn't. I didn't foresee this coming here, me feeling like this. I hand them to him anyway. The old man looks at the first one with squinted eyes. The second one, his left eye starts twitching. He throws them back at Mzolisi, gets up and rushes across the yard, all the way to under a big tree where he stands and starts shouting, Pumlile! Pumlile! She's alive. I want to get up and run out of here. Mzolisi grabs my hand and holds it tight. Relax, he says in a low voice. This is harder than what I thought it would be. I've been naive. We wait for about 5 minutes before a woman with a plowing hoe over her shoulder appears. Her dress, which she is wearing under a pinafore, is covered in soil. So are her bare feet and hands. They don't speak when she reaches her big brother under the tree. They immediately walk to us. She greets us and pours herself a glass of water, and then another before she sits on the bench and apologizes for the dirt all over her clothes. I'm late with the potatoes. It's already November. I should have planted them in September, but I decided to start with the corn and the pumpkins first. They'll be ready by mid-November. But it's not a big deal because potatoes grow fast, and with the rains already here, they'll be sprouting by next week. She sounds very passionate about her gardening, but that's not what is making my hands shake. It's how much she looks like Gertrude. Gertrude would be 40 years old this year. The old man is standing, looking like he doesn't know where to start. My brother says I'm too old to be in the fields every day, but look at him. He looks like he's about to drop and die. And that's because all he does is feed the chickens that he won't even let us slaughter and eat. We should slaughter one of the chickens for your visitors here, she says, and makes googly eyes at me while laughing. They both look pretty fit for their age, if you ask me. She looks like a very content and happy woman, like she talks too much and is fun to be around. I would say she's healed from her loss, but they say that is impossible. You just learn to live with it, no matter how long it's been. She hasn't asked us who we are and why we're here. Pumlile, they're here to see you, the old man says. The sadness in his tone is loud. That's when she folds her arms and looks at us, her face now serious. I decided it's time I start speaking. I'm Charlotte. This is my friend Mzolisi. She nods and looks at us both. Phew, where do I even begin? I was raised by Seipati Mdlalose. Used to work with her in Dedir. She raised me as her granddaughter. Seipati? You are Seipati's granddaughter? Yo, I have not seen her in years, she says, joy on her face. Mzolisi looks at me. I know he doesn't think it's a good idea for me to be the one telling her, but he doesn't have to protect me. Not in this case. This is my story to tell. My sister's story. Are you her son's daughter? What was his name again? It started with a T. He was the same age as Auntie, so I think he was around 24 years old when I left my house. He had been living with his mother for 2 years. Yes, I remember because when we got the land and the houses we built, the first thing Seipati did was fetch her son to come live with her. She never raised him, you know. She raised Auntie instead. He was raised by her husband. It was hard at first, shame. They were like strangers. The boy was the quiet type, but he was respectful. I guess his father raised him well, although Seipati always said he was a useless bum, and that's why she always had to send money to him every month. She can talk, yo. You ask her one thing and you get a whole monologue. I'm calmer now. It must be because of her beautiful energy. He was left alone in that house when Seipati got a job at the Home Affairs Department. It had benefits and all that stuff. She went back to Joburg. It was always the place for her. You look nothing like him, though. You must have gotten your looks from your mother. I'm shocked he would get a woman and even have a child. He rarely said a word. How did he even begin to approach a woman? Seipati says he was like that because as a child, other kids used to tease him about the shape of his head. I don't understand why. A lot of people have heads shaped like that. I don't want to know who the man who raped me was. I don't want to hear that some people found him respectful or whatever the fuck they thought about him. Mzolisi holds my hand again. We've come here because I tell him to stop talking. This is my story to tell. Pumlile, they have come here to tell you something important, her brother tells her. I pour myself a glass of water. I'm a water snob, and that has everything to do with my job. But right now, I don't care if this water is safe to drink or not. Seipati didn't just raise me. She raised 2 of us. Me and an older girl I believed was my sister. She said her daughter, our mother, died when we were young. She had a daughter? Pumlile, please just listen. Her brother. No, she never had a daughter. It was all a lie. We were children who were abducted by her son. He locked us up in a room under the house for years. Seipati didn't live there. I need to catch my breath before I utter her daughter's name. Locked you under a house? What house? Seipati's house. The 4th and last one on your street. Me and Nhlengi, your daughter. This is the first time I'm referring to Sissy, to Gertrude, by her real name. No. Nhlengi died in a fire when she was a child. She burned to death with her father 38 years ago. I can't continue speaking now. I don't feel good. I want to scream my lungs out and run. Run to no particular destination at high speed. I want to run in front of a truck and have it crush me into many pieces. I let Mzolisi continue. She didn't, Mama. Duelo took her and then burnt the house down. All the time you thought she was dead, she was only 3 houses away from yours, locked up in a dark room under Seipati's house. She was too young, and eventually she forgot her name or where she came from. She was there until she was 13 years old. There's a long silence before Pumi speaks again. Puti, brother, why did you let these people come into our home to tell lies? Why didn't you chase them away? The first step is always denial. The beautiful energy is gone now. She sounds like a shell spitting out words. The old man looks at Mzolisi. I know what he's asking him to do, so Mzolisi hands the photographs to her. She looks at them with a blank face, silence, and waiting. It's a long wait, and we wait with her, none of us saying a single word. How long did she live? She speaks, finally. A mother always knows. I have left everything to Mzolisi now. She died at 27. Seipati raised her since she was 13. She found them, and instead of calling the police, she killed her own son and took the girls. She bought a house in a small town where nobody knew her and told everyone they were her grandchildren. They didn't remember their names or anything about their lives before her son took them, so that worked well for her. She gave them new names. She also changed her name and lived in Cullinan until she died about 2 months ago. Silence. We have learned to wait for a reaction before one of us speaks again, but the silence in between is better than when words are being spoken. I want the silence to last longer, but I also want to scream and throw things and run until I fall somewhere and die. Mzolisi's hand is gripping mine, very tight. The old man is sitting now, on the ground. I do not know what hearing all of this is doing to him. I do not want to know how deep it is cutting Pumi. I just want it to be over, but I didn't come all the way here to tell half-truths. Gertrude deserves to have her whole story told. She bled breaking her own tooth so she could carve our names on the floor with it. She never wanted us to be forgotten. I don't believe that she, even in her wildest dreams, ever thought her mother will know what happened to her. I hope, if she's watching from wherever her spirit is, this will give her some peace. What did he do to her? All those years he kept her there, what did he do to her? I know Mzolisi won't answer her question. He raped her, almost every day. And then when she was 11, he abducted me. He put me in that same room and made her take care of me. When she turned 12, she grew breasts and started her period, so he didn't want her anymore. He said she was a woman now. That's when he started raping me. I had just turned 4. He had bought another girl. I'm not sure after how long, but she was my age. He raped her too, and one day he beat her so hard that she ended up dying. She's still staring at Gertrude's picture in her hand. That long silence again. Seipati was like a big sister to me. We endured that white man for years together. We took care of that little white girl because we knew what her father was. Then one night, Gloria told us why the white man didn't want anyone to touch the white roses. She was sleeping with him and she hated it, but she needed the job. He had slipped up one night because he believed she was in love with him, but obviously he couldn't marry her because it was illegal then. He told her he killed his wife when Hanti was 2 months old and buried her on the yard and planted those roses over her grave. Gloria wanted to get out of there. We all did after that. Auntie told me this, but she's not all up there, so hearing it again from someone who was directly involved is the confirmation I needed. It was Seipati's idea, you know. She said if we were going to leave that farm, it shouldn't be with nothing. So one evening, we locked all the doors in that house. We made him sit on a chair and told him we knew everything. We made him call his lawyer. He came the next day, and he told him he wanted to give his farm to us and buy a house for Hanti in the city. It was either that or he was going to jail because his wife was not just another girl. She was the daughter of a government minister, and you know those apartheid government people were psychopaths. The father didn't know her daughter was dead because she had written him a letter saying she ran away to some European country with her black lover. And that was that. The letter was written by Auntie's father, obviously. There wasn't going to be an investigation because the minister would have lost his job and he would have been shunned if any of his peers found out his daughter had run off with a black man. We had all that information and we used it. Another monologue, a very fascinating one. And then what happened? I ask. He signed everything. We moved Auntie to our house in Pretoria. She didn't even know how to make her own bed or fry an egg, but she was almost 21. She needed to grow up. We came back and her father paid for the contractors to build our houses. But he knew, and we knew, there were going to be problems. So he paid the lawyer upfront for the court battles that were definitely coming. His plan was to move to another country after that. So he could still be alive somewhere, I ask. No, Gloria killed him in his sleep. We packed our things and moved to our new houses. But we left all the gas cylinders in the farmhouse open. The house blew up a day later. What in the world? All I've heard is that Mr. De Beer moved to another country. Even his daughter believes he left and moved somewhere in Europe. We share that secret, all four of us. But Seipati couldn't bring my child back to me. She knew. Zolisi jumps in. No, Mama, she didn't know. Not until she found them in that room. Yes, she made the wrong decision by taking them. But she had killed her own son. She thought she could fix them. That's what I think. But in her dying days, she gave Charlotte the keys to the house. She wanted her to uncover the truth. I don't think he's making a valid point here. Nothing can justify taking another woman's child and keeping them when you know they will never get over the pain of losing them. Everything Seipati did was for her own selfish reasons. Where is her grave? She asks. Cullinan. Her funeral was a dignified one. I won't tell her about how troubled she was, and I won't tell her that I believe Seipati ended her life. That would be too much. I know I said I was here to tell her the whole truth, but the truth can be harmful, and I'm not going to hurt her more than she is already hurting. I want her to come home, she says. She will. I'm going to speak to that dodgy priest. Gertrude's remains, even if they are nothing but white bones, belong to this woman here, her mother. I tell her to keep the photographs. She fought until the end. I want you to know that. She was smart too, very smart, I tell her. We have to go now. We have come here and changed these people's lives. The man was living his simple life, feeding chickens, and the woman was planting potatoes and enjoying getting dirty. Their lives will never be the same after this. But we did what needed to be done. It is when we drive out when I hear loud wailing. She must have kept herself composed for us. Are you okay? Zolisi asks me as we join the tar road. No, I'm not okay. I hate Seipati. He doesn't say anything. Hating dead people is pointless. It's not like you can do anything to them. You can't even tell them you hate them. The woman mentioned that your grandmother got a job at Home Affairs. That must be how she got you 2 birth certificates with the new names. Obviously. We now know Gertrude's real name. We know Kamu's real name. But who am I?